Western Electric installer terminals in the new what do they call it? Built new terminal building. And my brother says, "Well, why don't you join the Air Force?" And he told me all about, what a great thing it was. So I joined the Air Force, and told him I wanted to be a photographer, aerial photographer, and they said, "Nah, we don't need any aerial photographers. What's your second choice?" So I said electronics, so they put me in radio school. Because that's what they needed most of at the time. So I went into the radio, communications, and graduated from Belleville, Illinois Air Force Electronics School. And my first assignment was to Alaska. And it was an air weather squadron which was also doing over-the-pole reconnaissance flights. They were doing over-the-pole reconnaissance flights, and it was pioneer work because there were no flights over the pole in those days, no airlines flying over the pole or anything, because they didn't know how to navigate it, because compasses wouldn't work when you got up there. So they developed an inertial navigation system, N1, the first one ever developed, and we were testing it to see how it worked, and we proved it out, and it worked fine. And a few years later, they started flying over the North Pole with the information we gave them, because you combined the information from the inertial nav with returns from ice flows, and it would tell you if you're on course, straight course or not. And therefore, that ties in with what happened to me when I went to read palms at a psychic fair, and I had a woman that was doing past life readings there. She had me lay down on her couch and put me through kind of a hypnosis thing, and said, "Look at your feet and tell me where you are." So I looked in imagination, because my eyes were closed. So I am imagining myself looking down at my feet. And when I did, my feet started going like that by themselves. I wasn't doing anything. They just started going like that. And then all of a sudden, all these thoughts come to me. I was on the deck of a ship, and it was in the port where they were building the ships for Columbus. And I was a bosun's mate on one of the ships, and we had to take it out and do a seaworthiness run on it. And so that tied in with the fact that I was working on aircraft that was doing the first navigation over the North Pole. But later on, it also tied into the fact that I was working on the lunar lander module for the first flight to the moon, and I also was working on the first space satellite that went to Jupiter. So I was in on a lot of firsts for space, and that ties in with my past life of working on a ship for Columbus for his navigation, first navigation across the North Atlantic, to discover a new world. So there you are. So it seems to tie in. It works. And that's my story. That's what I wanted to tell. Anything else? Well, let's see. I don't know. But I was in on a lot of firsts for which tied into my past life experience with Columbus. I was just a bosun's mate. I wasn't anything spectacular, just like in this life. I haven't been anything spectacular.